Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome in to Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Aluga. Thanks so much for being here Tuesday, February 3rd. And right now we're talking about the Tennessee Titans coaching staff, particularly the fact that Gus Bradley is back in the AFC South. Yes, former Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Gus Bradley, who led the team to, legitimately the worst stretch in franchise history. Not the most talented teams. Hard to argue that, but Gus Bradley is back as the Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator. And that's just there's a lot to get into. So we're going to break it down, talk about the Tennessee Titans a little bit here today. As a, fan of the Jaguars, which I assume all of you are, it's good to know about your rivals. Go behind enemy lines a little bit and take a look at what they've got going on. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Genjag.com. We just dropped a bunch of hat. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the word. Restocks. Hat restocks. Tuesdays, am I right? Yeah. So the hat I'm wearing right now, a bunch of other fun hats up on genjag.com. Check it out. Help support the channel. Look good while doing it. You can also find that hype button on mobile. Helps us out a ton. So Gus Bradley will be the Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator, joining Robert Saleh as the Titans head coach. And then Brian Daboll is going to be the Titans offensive coordinator. So kind of a fascinating group there. We know about the Robert Saleh, Liam Cohen situation. Robert Saleh thought he had a chance to be the Jaguars head coach last year. That didn't happen because the Jags fell in love with Liam Cohen. And then you fast forward to the week before the Jaguars playing the 49ers, who, by the way, Gus Bradley was on that staff too. Fast forward to that, and Robert Saleh saying that Liam Cohen's crew steals signs. Liam Cohen takes offense to it. Jaguars go out to San Francisco, beat the 49ers. Liam Cohen says, keep my name out your mouth. Robert Saleh says, I'll kill you. So this is going to be fun. That's going to be fun right there. Plus, you have a defensive-minded head coach in the Titans, Robert Saleh, versus an offensive-minded head coach in the Jaguars, Liam Cohen. So you've got that going for this rivalry as well. And then Gus Bradley, who, again, was the Jaguars head coach during the worst run in franchise history by far. By far. It's built. That was his thing. Some of y'all might not remember the Gus Bradley days too much, but goodness gracious. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I can say that, just 100%. One of the nicest people. 14-48 for the Jacksonville Jaguars as their head coach. Gus Bradley. 14-48. And by the way, Robert Saleh was here in Jacksonville as linebackers coach. I don't remember if he was here the entire run with Gus or if he got hired away at some point, but he was here. And they both came from the Seattle Seahawks, cover 3 system, Legion of Boom. And Todd Wash somehow out-survived them all in Jacksonville. Good old Washer, as Gus Bradley would call him. But yeah, 14-48. Best season was 5-11. 2013 he went 4-12. 2014 he went 3-13. 2015 5-11. You're like, oh. Then they pull the rug out from under you. 2-12 in 2016. Just brutal. Absolutely brutal. What a time to be alive. You also have the fact that Gus Bradley's son, Carter Bradley, is a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe they signed him to a reserve future contract. So there's just all sorts of connections here between the Titans and the Jaguars. Not to mention just the about 30 years of bad blood between the two teams. So it's really funny. Now, when it comes to actually, what does this mean for this rivalry for the Titans moving forward? Gus Bradley is going to be their defensive coordinator, but in reality, yeah, Carter Bradley's on the reserve/future contract, so he's back with the Jags. In reality, he's not calling plays. I mean, he will be integral in the coaching and the teaching and the game plans and all that, but like he's not calling plays. If he was calling plays, like he did with the Indianapolis Colts, by the way, maybe one day he'll end up with the Texans as well. He could do the entire AFC South. But Gus Bradley is he's not going to be play calling. Robert Saleh mentioned already that he's going to be calling defensive plays for the Titans. He's head coach and defensive play caller. But Gus, his fingerprints will be all over that defense. And Trevor Lawrence has had his way with Gus Bradley defenses. Again, it's not going to be the same because Robert Saleh, I think, has modernized his defense a little bit more than Gus Bradley had with Indy. But Trevor Lawrence has roasted, absolutely roasted Gus Bradley defense. And I think, honestly, Trevor Lawrence, with Liam Cohen dialing it up, with Jacoby Myers, with Britton Strange, with Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne if he's back, has the ability to roast pretty much any defense. I really do think that. But I don't think that this direction will prove fruitful for the Titans when it comes to beating the Jaguars. Just don't see it. And a lot of that has to do with they've got a lot of work to do roster-wise. And then you've also got Brian Daboll on the offensive side of the ball. We'll get to all that stuff after the break. First, got to remind y'all, Underdog Fantasy. If you're not on Underdog yet, then you are in luck because new customers score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just head over to the app, make picks on if a player will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. I personally love the Underdog app. Best user interface and user experience. It's super simple and easy to use. This week on Underdog, we know the big game is coming up, and you can actually just pick which team you think will win, which is really fun. I mean, Patriots, Seahawks, who's it going to be? I think it's going to be the Seahawks. I also really like Jackson Smith and Jigba to go higher than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. I like that a lot. What are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code DuvalDaily to score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 on fantasy. That's promo code DuvalDaily. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and President State where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. If you're supporting them, you are supporting us, and we really do appreciate it. So, Brian Daboll on the offensive side, I think that could be a good pairing with Cam Ward. And we saw Cam Ward was, that first drive of the last game of the regular season, he was getting some things done against our Jaguars defense, unfortunately. But you look at the Titans roster, they've got a lot of work to do. The one thing you can say for them right now, and I would be absolutely shocked if this regime wants to move on from a Jeffrey Simmons, I think you just keep him, you build around him, right? If I'm advising the Titans, I'm saying there's no way you're getting rid of Jeffrey Simmons. No way. They do have a ton of cap space. They have the most cap space in football. So they can absolutely be big spenders. You look at team cap space. And if you haven't been paying attention, the Jaguars cap table was updated on over the cap since they've announced some new things about the 2026 cap. The Jaguars actually have they're about $10 million over the cap right now, which is a much better spot than they were initially listed at, and they'll have plenty of flexibility to get whatever they want done for the most part. I mean, nothing insane. Like, they're not going to have a stacked free agency class, but they can do some different things to try to push this team into a evolved state in 2026. But yeah, the Titans have $100 million in cap space. You know, they've got a lot, over $100 million in cap space. So they will be one of the biggest spenders in free agency this year. They need to be, because their team is just not very good right now. I think that Brian Daboll can elevate what they were doing offensively a little bit. I think it's unfortunate, really, that Cam Ward has to go into a new system, but I think Daboll can design a system around Cam Ward's skill set that will be good. But their offensive line was not very good this past year. I think there's some reason that you can believe it can be better, but J.C. Latham was not very good. You have a good interior group. On the left, you just don't have a very good tackle situation at this point. Is what it looks like, unfortunately for the Titans. Unfortunately for them. Fortunately for the Jaguars. And then when it comes to your receivers, I mean, you got some guys, but it doesn't feel like a receiving group that is really built to be an elevated passing game. It feels like, you know, Cam Ward's going to be having to do a lot of the work. And then you've got good running backs for sure. I mean, Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears are good players. I like their tight end room. Chimere Dike is an explosive player. We all know about Calvin Ridley. Don't know what's going to be happening with him moving forward. Alec Manor has some talent, but just one of those things where it doesn't feel like a cohesive, well put together offense. And then defensively, you've got some guys. The secondary feels like it needs a lot of work. Second level could use some work. Edge could use some work. You really feel like your pillar of your team right now is Cam Ward, building around him, and Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat. That's what it's looking like right now. And can this free agency period and coaching staff do enough to make them a team that can threaten the Jaguars in 2026? That would honestly surprise me quite a bit. It really would. I'm not saying they can't be more competitive. I mean, the Jaguars beat them down in 2025. Absolutely beat them down. But I don't think that their defense is going to be built to really be super successful against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars offense. I think their offense has a long way to go. We'll see. We can revisit them after free agency and the draft, but it's just not looking super promising for 2026. And for 2027, I mean, if they have a good year in 2026, Brian Daboll could be a head coach again. And then you're back at square one offensively, and that could be a whole problem. So even if they don't have a great year, but like Cam Ward just takes steps forward, Brian Daboll could be back in the head coaching cycle for sure. He was this year. It's going to be fascinating to see how they handle this free agency period. Because a lot of teams, they go out and they sign the most expensive players at the most important positions, and it doesn't end up working out. I mean, we've seen that in Jacksonville a million times, but then the Jaguars have a free agency period like they did last year where they signed good players that fit their system, that fit their culture. Like, one thing we don't talk about enough is the Jaguars are going to bring in players that they feel fit their culture naturally, not by trying to assimilate and not being yourself. Like James Gladstone has said it a million times. He wants players to elevate their roster, to elevate their team by being nothing more than themselves. So that means players that are naturally team first, hardworking, love ball. Can the Titans employ that same strategy, which I think that's a strategy every team should have, in trying to really upgrade this roster? I don't know. I don't know if they will. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. I know that Robert Saleh, I think he can coach some defense, but I don't know that that's the type of defense that's going to really do super well against the Jags in their offense. And again, Brian Daboll's got a lot of work to do to get that offense up to snuff. So I'm not shaking in my boots about the Titans being a big threat in the AFC in 2026, AFC South in 2026, maybe 2027. A lot of the offseason remains to be seen how it'll play out, but I mean, I guess they could fill a lot of holes in free agency. But you still got to get that quarterback operating at a high level, surround him with more talent, protect him, get the run game going, shore up the pass defense, shore up they got a lot of work to do. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. And again, the big news, Gus Bradley back in the AFC. He will be coaching against his son, it looks like, and obviously against his former team that he led to a 14-48 record while on the job. Y'all have a good one.